It'll be interesting early to see the Pistons, not the Lakers, how the Pistons come out early. You know the Lakers are going to be ready. The key is, will the Pistons be happy with one win, or will they try to go for two?
Well, they're happy right now. They're looking to become ecstatic. Here we go. O'Neal and Ben Wallace, and again for the second game in a row, a premature jump. This time, again, it is Shaquille O'Neal, as was the case the other night. So that's happened in both games.
Yeah, and what it basically means is that the Pistons get the ball first in the fourth quarter, which doesn't mean a lot or seem like it means a lot, but it actually could.
And the Lakers will inbound in the second and third periods. Billups pressured well out in front by Gary Payton. This is Rasheed Wallace into Ben Wallace. Gets by O'Neal and misses the reverse layup, with O'Neal getting the rebound.
The first change, Al, that I've seen already in the Lakers defense is Gary Payton is going to pressure Chauncey Billups.
Bryant with a lot of traffic as he goes through the lane, and an offensive foul. And Phil Jackson talking to us before the game, saying we have to pressure the Pistons.
Well, you know why? Chauncey Billups is a big point guard. He's bigger than Payton. So if Billups is going to use his size once they get across half court, then Gary Payton has to use his speed to push him up the court. And I think that's what they're going to try to do. Now, as you can see, the Pistons are a team that someone else can bring the ball up, and that's what Tayshaun Prince just did.
And you saw George pressuring Prince about 35 feet out, and now Wallace misses the shot, but Billups is there for the offensive rebound. Drives to the hoop, doesn't get the bounce, and it winds up off the back of Ben Wallace, and the Lakers will inbound. Pressuring the opposition sounds like something every coach would say, but remember Larry Brown, and it got a lot of publicity on the off day because we had him the other night saying to his team in a timeout, they're not guarding us at all. You have every shot.
Yeah, and they did take it personal. You know, I'm sure you've heard that Phil Jackson played that 4 and 5 times for his team. But the bottom line, you win championships by playing defense, and the Lakers are going to have to do that. Now, again, early on, one-on-one coverage on Shaq. I think you're going to see Shaq touch the ball a little bit more than he did in game one.
In game one, with those 34 points, he scored the first 8, so he gets the first basket of the second game. Rasheed Wallace working on Malone, and Carl fouls him.
I think when we missed a couple of things in game one, or didn't talk about him. Rasheed Wallace was in foul trouble. You know, he played well, was really efficient when you look at his numbers. But when you look at his minutes, didn't play enough minutes, played very few minutes in the first half. You're going to see Detroit go to him early and often to start this game.
Wallace, in fact, sat on the bench for the majority of that first half. He played 29 minutes total during the regular season. He was a 74% free throw shooter.
You know, really interesting what Larry Brown did in game one. He doubled Shaquille O'Neal when he didn't have the ball, and then when he caught it, he ran the guy off of Shaquille O'Neal and played one-on-one to take shots away from all the others, the quote-unquote others of the Lakers. And one of those others this evening is going to have to play well for the Lakers to win.
The other night, in fact, they had only 4 points from the guys off the bench, and Malone and Payton each had a scoreless first half. Bryant. Prince stays with him, gets the screen from Malone, and then tries to get it into Shaq to tip it in, and the pass is too high.
Yeah, good though. That's the second time now that Kobe Bryant has not settled for jump shots, and he's attacking the basket. That's what Phil Jackson told us before the game. The offensive adjustment, they have to give Kobe more room to attack, and then the Lakers have to attack the basket instead of settling for jump shots.
Now you have Bryant on Billups, and we talked about that a little bit in the pregame show, but Wallace is free, and Ben goes to the hoop for the jam, and Detroit leads.
But you know, you're not seeing Kobe Bryant guard Billups because he's getting tired guarding Rip Hamilton. I think they think Kobe Bryant can do a better job on Billups, and they think Gary Payton can do a better job on Rip Hamilton.
Here's O'Neal again, short. Billups pressured by George. So Kobe now switches off. Devin George guards him. Billups then loses the ball. So George with a big steal here early. Billups goes down. He's fine. Bryant with it. Kobe from 18. Whistle.
Yeah, Rip Hamilton hit him on the hand. Now, again, that's the second time a bigger body has been guarding Billups. First, it was Kobe Bryant, then Devin George. You're going to see Gary Payton moved around this evening because of his size. They know Billups has a size advantage. They know Payton can chase Rip Hamilton, so I think you're going to see that switch more than not this evening.
Kobe Bryant, very good free throw shooter, hit 85% during the regular season, 80% from the line here in postseason. Lakers retake the lead early first quarter in Game 2. Pistons winning the other night in a game in which the Lakers led on a couple of occasions, but never by more than 3 points. George pressuring Prince. Back to Ben. Now to Rasheed Wallace for 3, and Bryant clears the boards. Kobe whips it into the corner to Payton. Three-pointer doesn't go. And look at that rebound by Ben Wallace. A play like that, and you understand why he is mostly about rebounding, mostly about defense.
Because he has Velcro on his hands. And when it touches it, you never see it pop out.
Prince feeds it to Ben, and Ben has it blocked, and then Kobe almost has it taken away. Wasn't looking, had to turn back to get it. Malone to the hoop. Rejected by Rasheed Wallace. Now Billups stopping and popping from 18. And Wallace can't get the follow to go. End-to-end action. Malone again. This time it works.
Yeah, the first time he went in and tried to get fouled and didn't. This time he went in to try to make the bucket.
And Larry Brown's going to call a timeout. So an early timeout called by the Piston coach. It comes just 3 minutes and 58 seconds into the game. Captain Jack is here, of course, saluting his Lakers, who take a 6-3 early lead. Malone passing up that one. And then Rasheed Wallace with the block. But then again, if at first you don't succeed, try again.
I've heard that before.
Yes, I have too. Cliche number 137.
Yes.
We can scratch that one off.
A good timeout by Larry Brown, I must say. You know, he can see right now the Lakers, Al, I think you see it already. Their energy defensively is up from game 1 already. And the message that Phil Jackson sent has been received so far.
Here's the McDonald's NBA Finals summary. Take a look at what happened in Game 1. Billups, the big man for Detroit, with 22 points. The bench with 19 points. The Lakers had only 4. O'Neal and Bryant combined for 59 points, but the rest of the team had only 16 points, and the rest of the Lakers were 6 of 30. That's 20% from the field.
Wow. 78% of the points scored by 2 guys.
And the Lakers with a bench that pretty much has put them into the finals. Thank you, Derek Fisher. Thank you, Kareem Rush, says Phil Jackson, as Prince puts it in to make it a 6-5 Laker lead. Bryant feeds Shaq. George gets free from 16. Malone with a back tap, but nobody's there except Rasheed Wallace. And it goes into Ben Wallace, and Detroit takes the lead. So Larry Brown calls the timeout, trailing by 3, and the next thing you know, Detroit's up by 1.
And that's the second time now that Ben Wallace has caught the ball close to the rim. That time he was able to convert. What he's doing is just running down the court, trying to outrun Shaq to the basket.
George would have been a 3. O'Neal with the rebound.
Each shot that the others miss put more pressure on the next guy.
And then Malone gets hit by Rasheed Wallace and picks up a foul here with 6:55, pleading his case with Joe DeRosa.
I mean, you can see this right here. The Pistons, this is like their secondary break, and all they're doing is spreading the floor, pushing it up the floor, and they're telling one of their bigs to run straight down the middle and put your head under the basket. And what they're saying, if you do it every time, Shaq won't, and you'll be able to score.
Payton goes down, but he gets pushed down. They're going to call a foul on Billups.
You know, as a player, you hate that foul, but it is a great call. The bottom line is when you trip over someone's foot, even though it's a mistake, it's still a foul.
Now, when you in the audience hear Doc talk about a great call, just one little caveat here. Doc will be coaching the Boston Celtics next year.
Thank you very much.
He's building up a little bit of currency.
You know, with Tommy Heinsohn working, I better build up some.
Yeah. Here's Shaq. Banks it in. Lakers reclaim the lead. 8-7 Los Angeles. We approach the halfway mark. O'Neal now has 4 points.
That's the second time now. Shaq in game one looked awesome offensively. And he looks like he's going to do the same thing again tonight.
Here's Hamilton, who was fairly silent in game one. O'Neal gets the rebound. Hamilton with a 5 for 16 shooting performance in the open. Of course, he was so instrumental in the conference finals against Indiana. Here's O'Neal again. Gets pressured. Ball goes out of bounds to Detroit.
Shaquille O'Neal was surprised when he turned that they actually sent a guy. You know, he was starting to get comfortable with one-on-one coverage. Right when he turns around, well, we're going to double you on this one.
Billups in and out. Malone with the rebound. As play resumes, and the ball goes into the backcourt, and when Kobe Bryant touches it, he's going to have to give it up because it's over and back. Jackson's trying to contend that a Piston got a hand on it.
And I think Jackson is trying to breathe because he's thinking unforced turnovers. The one thing you can't do against a great defensive team is give that team, especially if they're not a great offensive team, points and easy buckets, and that's what you do off a turnover.
Fourth Laker turnover. All the way goes Hamilton. Detroit on top again. Payton to Bryant. Now Gary posting and losing the ball. Now the Lakers have turned the ball over 5 times in less than 7 minutes.
Yeah, and that's a concern. Again, when you are a great defensive team, not a great offensive team, you can't give that team easy points in extra possessions. That's not very good. I mean, look at this defense. This is that face guarding that we talked about. But the blow-by right here, and Kobe was really upset. He looked at his teammates when Rip laid it in and was, where's the help?
Mask guarding. Of course, Hamilton wears that plastic mask because of a broken nose sustained during the regular season. From the corner now, that would have been a 3 for Wallace. Meanwhile, Payton was charged with that last foul. Detroit has 14 fouls. The Lakers have 2. The Lakers have turned the ball over their last 3 possessions. Bryant all the way.
He reminds me of a great running back, you know, where it looks like there's no opening, and all of a sudden he can squeeze himself through.
That change of pace. Start fast, slow it up, get fast again. Rasheed missing everything, and then Bryant is there for the rebound. 4.5 to go in the period. Malone. Over Rasheed Wallace. Karl is long. Rebound is to Ben Wallace. Billups goes all the way, and off the glass kisses it in. So the lead going back and forth. 11-10 Detroit, under 4 to go in the period.
And again, this is Piston pace right now. You know, Phil Jackson told us earlier, right before the game, that we have to force tempo and create a faster tempo. Now you remember in the Western Conference Finals, the Lakers didn't want to play that way. They wanted to slow it down. I mean, these are the possessions, the same type of possessions right here that the Pistons got in game one. Layups at the basket. That's the second straight layup for the Pistons.
Lakers inbounded. There was 12 on the shot clock when they did. Bryant dishes it over to George for a 3-point attempt that doesn't go. Lakers at the outset shooting 36%. O'Neal and Bryant the other night, 79% of the Laker points. That's a record for the finals. And tonight, they have 80% at this point.
Yeah, it's not a good trend right now if you're a Laker fan. This game so far reminds me a lot of game one, with the exception I think the Lakers are playing with better energy defensively. But as I told you earlier, the Pistons are still getting the same shots.
Hamilton just gave him a 3-point lead. First substitution of the game. Luke Walton, who didn't play in game one, comes in for Devin George, and that's Luke with the ball. His dad Bill in the building. And Malone gets fouled, and it's Wallace. So Rasheed Wallace has now picked up his second, similar to what happened the other night, and now Eldon Campbell gets up off the bench. So Larry Brown forced into the same situation as the other night. He has to bring Rasheed Wallace to the bench in the first quarter.
Yeah, and both times have been on Karl Malone's movement, putting Rasheed Wallace into the wrong spot.
Daddy Bill, one of the great players of all time, wife Lori, and of course played his college basketball right here under John Wooden at UCLA. Malone to the line. Karl did not get to the line in game one. Makes the first, and here's Michelle.
Yeah, Al, Karl Malone, who's been called the big brother that this team needed, tore a ligament in his right knee in late December, sat out until mid-March. That's the most significant injury he's had in his career. That same knee has been swelling up here in the postseason. In fact, he had to have it drained before this series started. Phil Jackson said before tonight's game that he wants to watch Malone and see how willing he is to shoot and how his knee is reacting to the action. Doc, you're a doctor. So far, how's he doing?
He's doing pretty well so far. You know, and the key for him, and Phil Jackson was saying it, is how well Malone could move. The reason he's not shooting is his knee.
You went to Marquette Med School as well,
I'm telling you, math and med school.
O'Neal back to Walton, who's become a pretty good three-point shooter this year. Shot clock at 7. O'Neal doesn't get the bounce. Detroit still leads by 1. They have the ball, 2.5 to go in the period. Hamilton gets his own rebound. 2 misses. Campbell couldn't get it in with the left hand, and the Lakers come back down. And Bryant had nobody to hand it off to, and now he can't pick it up again.
That was like the park.
Nobody's there. Nobody's home. He would have been whistled the second he touched it, so all he could do is just leave it alone, and the Pistons pick it up on the turnover.
And another turnover for the Lakers.
That's 6 now. Campbell, former Laker. Hamilton, short. Malone fights for the rebound, but Rip gets it back.
Boy, Rip Hamilton is getting great looks at the bucket right now and not making shots.
He's 2 for 6. Now Prince from outside to drain it for 3. Tayshaun Prince, a 4-point Detroit lead with Wallace on the bench.
Some players play well when things go right for them, and then they ride the storm. Tayshaun Prince reminds me of one of those guys right now. He's in a groove right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see Detroit try to look for him a little bit more.
And O'Neal, as he goes through the lane, gets fouled. Back to Tayshaun Prince, whose 2 blocks in the series against Indiana were the 2 vital plays.
Yeah, and then he made a big 3 in game 6 to basically end any hopes for the Pacers. Tayshaun Prince is starting to play well in this series. In game 1, I thought he did a great job of taking the ball to the bucket, and right there he's making shots. So Larry Brown needs him to be a great defensive player, number 1, and then when he can knock down shots, that's extra. O'Neal
misses the first of 2. Now you have Corliss Williamson and Lindsey Hunter coming into the game for Detroit. And for the Lakers, they bring Derek Fisher off the bench and sit Gary Payton.
You know, it was a clear advantage in game 1, Detroit's bench. I thought their bench players came in aggressive, played comfortable, and made things happen. Lindsey Hunter has been a great factor so far for the Detroit Pistons with his ball pressure, not only his scoring.
We talked about it before. The Lakers bench didn't play well. The Lakers had only 4 points from their non-starters. Minute to go in the period. Ben Wallace underneath. Gives it to Williamson. He can't get it to drop.
I tell you. Al, if you're Larry Brown, you're looking at these points that you're giving up right now, and it has to be driving you crazy.
And then he'll be a little crazier because that gives Luke Walton the opportunity to score his first ever points in an NBA Finals.
I like the substitution by Phil Jackson putting in Luke Walton, because Luke Walton's one of those players that makes things happen, and right now you need your other guys to make things happen.
And he makes another thing happen right there. Offensive.
See, they need guys to create plays. Luke Walton is one of those guys that can do that. He's going to come in, he's going to give great energy, he's going to fight guys down on the post. He's bringing energy right now. You can feel it right now in this arena, right when Luke Walton walked on the floor.
And he forced the offensive foul committed there by Williamson. And now Larry Brown, end of quarter switch. He's going to bring in Mike James.
And here's just Luke now running the floor. And again, getting involved, creating shots. He's a great passer. Like you noted, he's improved his three-point play. So good move. Didn't play in the first half or the first game, and already in the first quarter is in this game.
Lakers have it. It'll be a 5-second differential. So James, a good defender, matches up very well with Fisher, and that's why Brown brings him off the bench here for this one possession. Walton, 8 on the shot clock. Cross court, Kareem Rush for 3. Well, that's why the Minnesota Timberwolves are at home right now.
Yeah, and that pass was unbelievable from Luke Walton. Again, Luke Walton just created that play out.
Walton and Rush. So the bench has done more in a quarter tonight than it did with 3.5 to go, and a foul here than it did in the entire game. The foul here is on Fisher, and the Lakers had a foul to give. Again, if you don't follow that much basketball, a foul to give means you haven't committed a foul in the last 2 minutes of a quarter. So if it's a non-shooting foul, the other team doesn't go to the free throw line. You get them to eat a little clock. Here's Medvedenko coming into the game, and it's in effect a free foul.
In effect, it's a foul to give. That's what I tell
right.
people when they ask me what a foul. You can give a foul and there's no penalty, you know. And good teams and smart teams use it wisely. I thought right there the Lakers really used theirs wisely.
Taken away. Fisher heaves it up at the end, and that is the end of the first quarter.
Sometimes you have to look at the whole picture and not just the run that is current, and that's what Larry Brown was doing. He also watched the first quarter like everyone else and saw all the layups and wide open shots that the Pistons missed.
From the corner, Fisher. And it was Medvedenko tapping the rebound to Malone, who gets it to Rush. And the second-year guy out of Missouri misses there with Ben Wallace clearing the glass.
I tell you, Rush comes in with that gun loaded, doesn't he?
He does. And against Minnesota in game 6, 6 out of 7, and that made the difference as the Lakers came from behind. After the miss by Wallace, Malone, meanwhile, Karl Malone is hurt. He was reaching for his right knee. He's hobbling underneath the basket, and here's Williamson putting it up and in.
You know, right now, I'm looking at Karl Malone, and they're going to have to yank him off the floor.
No doubt.
He doesn't tell the truth usually to the trainer, Gary Vitti, and they're calling it 22nd right now because of Karl Malone.
Well, you saw Karl, and all he had to do is just point the index finger, wave it a little bit over toward the bench, and the Lakers have to take a 20. Malone, in his career, as most of you who follow the game know, he almost never missed a game in all of those years at Utah. Then he misses half the season here.
Yeah, and I'm sure some of that is age. And, you know, when you're running on a bad wheel, anything can trigger it and make it worse, even a trip like that. So, you know, this is a guy, as a fan of basketball, that I absolutely don't want to see get injured. I want to see him compete in this finals. And you know right now, in most cases, most guys probably wouldn't be playing, and he's trying to gut it out here.
People feel for him. Anybody who knows the story, all the years at Utah, he gets to the finals on a couple of occasions, but runs into Michael Jordan. And here's what happened. It's kind of a freak play earlier in the year, December 21st, in fact, and that cost him 40 games.
Yeah, I bet there's been more injuries in our league with guys landing on someone else's foot than any other injury.
So he sits down, and now Bryant is free, and Kobe puts it in. Two-pointer. Lakers up by a deuce.
Last 3-4 minutes, the Lakers are starting to get open shots, and that's the first time this has happened in this series.
Williamson cross-court to Okur in the game for the first time. Now Lindsey Hunter, who won a ring with the Lakers a couple of years back. Shot clock at 3, so Wallace has to take the shot. And then O'Neal gets fouled on the rebound.
Boy, I tell you what, Okur passed up an open shot. Lindsey Hunter then passed up an open shot. Chauncey Billups then passed up an open shot, and they swung it out to Ben Wallace for the 15-footer.
Gary Vitti, the longtime Laker trainer, in consultation with Karl Malone. You know, at that point, I'm looking at Malone, it's like your brain wants to shake it off.
No.
It's like you don't even want to give in to the fact that you might be hurt to the extent you can't play. And the steal here, and here's Billups.
You know, an easy bucket for the Pistons, another turnover for the Lakers. So right now, I think the Lakers' defense has been terrific so far in this game, where it wasn't in game 1, but their offense, they're having sloppy turnovers, and that's uncharacteristic of a Laker offensive basketball team.
2020, that could lead me to a promo, but I'm not going there. Medvedenko misses. And here's Billups. Underneath, and it's Wallace who couldn't get enough control of it. And now Fisher darts back the other way to Bryant.
Oh, wow.
Didn't get the bounce. Fisher saves it at the baseline. And then O'Neal gets hammered for the foul.
I'll tell you, Kobe Bryant just ruined a great highlight with missing that layup. Because, you know, again, he makes things look so easy. With what he just did, he shouldn't have been able to do in that little space.
We watched him do it so much through the years. Malone went back to the locker room, and now he's coming back.
I don't think he's going to leave this game. I think Gary Vitti is going to try to do his best to try to get him there, to try to talk him into that locker room. You know, Vitti told us earlier in the year that Malone's a tough one because he never tells you what's going on. You have to figure it out for yourself.
Now Bryant sits down. He gets a rest. Rush and Fisher in the backcourt. Walton, Medvedenko, and O'Neal up front. Assistant Frank Hamlin was the man in the middle as Vitti goes over it with Phil Jackson. And the Lakers have the lead, 21-20. Medvedenko pressures Wallace. Shot clock at 6. Hunter drives, throws up a wild one that goes in.
Yeah, tough shot. But again, the one thing you like if you're a Laker fan, now you're watching the Pistons go late in the clock. And that didn't happen in game 1.
And the foul is called on Billups as Hunter and Billups had him double teamed. Detroit up by 1. A little under 9 to go in the half. Open is Walton. And he's become, as we said before, a very good three-point shooter.
He really has. And we watched him early in the year. When Luke Walton was drafted, he was a 15-foot shooter at best and inconsistent there. We've watched him all year spend hours on working on that three-point shot, and now it's paying dividends.
Lakers putting a lot of pressure on. Again, you have 8 seconds to get the ball across the midcourt line. Campbell loses it. Out of bounds it goes to the Detroit bench.
The activity of the Lakers on defense has made a difference. You can see it. They're starting to get confidence, not in their offense. They're starting to get confidence in their defense.
And then Walton slips, and with the prospect of not being able to get the ball across that midcourt line in 8 seconds, takes a timeout.
Guys, athletic trainer Gary Vitti had a number of contentious conversations with Karl Malone. Vitti said that Malone twisted that same right knee. He is available to come back. But again, they've had a number of conversations just to come to that conclusion. And many of them, Karl has been upset with Vitti, sometimes Vitti turning away in frustration like there's nothing he can do. But the word is, he is available to return. Back to you.
Doc,
I'm going to tell you
what it sounds like? Denial to me.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what's going on. Beatty is telling Karl Malone, you should sit out the rest of this game and let's check it. And Karl Malone is saying no. Oh, my.
Luke Walton
is creating.
Luke Walton is now the Lakers' leading scorer. He did not play in game 1. He has 7, and the sound of Luke resounds throughout Staples Center. Okur inside, guarded by Medvedenko. Okur gets doubled, and then Prince was free, but the ball is thrown away.
And who calls that play, Al? Luke Walton. Luke Walton has made 2 terrific defensive plays. He has made great offensive plays, scoring, and some great passing. He's coming in and making things happen. Again, like we said earlier, great substitution by adding him into this series.
That was Detroit's 7th turnover. O'Neal has it knocked away. Campbell got his hand on it. The ball is out of bounds, and Detroit will inbound.
Now, this is coast to coast. No one stopped the basketball. That's the first thing you learn in camp. You have to stop the ball first to make him move it. Luke Walton knew that, took it to the basket, and he's 3 for 3 right now.
Meanwhile, Hamilton comes into the game for Detroit. Bryant wants to come into the game, but Kobe got to the scorer's table too late, because when Jackson saw Hamilton come in, he brought Bryant to the bench, but he reported too late. So Hamilton's in the game for the moment, and Bryant is not. Campbell got it.
Yeah, Campbell can make that shot, and they're running the pick and roll in order for him to get that shot.
Fisher all the way, gets pressured and fouled, and now Bryant comes into the game.
You know, it's rare that you can say Detroit is breaking down defensively, but that's now twice in a row that the ball has gone coast to coast without anyone stopping the ball.
Derek Fisher seeking his first point of the game. You can log on to the NBA store on NBA.com. Order the official game program from the 2004 finals online at NBA.com. Fisher 1 for 2, and the Lakers are up by 3. Fisher guarding Billups in this sequence. They had Bryant on him earlier. A little bit of Payton, who's on the bench. Hamilton with a turnaround that doesn't go. So Rip in the 2 games having trouble shooting.
Yeah, and I think Kobe's speed is bothering Rip. He's trying to pull the trigger earlier than he wants to.
Here's O'Neal, too hard. Hamilton, meanwhile, 2 for 7 from the field. And the foul is on the Lakers on Slava Medvedenko, his first. And, well, Malone has gotten his way. Despite what Gary may have been saying, and not only does he come back into the game, he comes back in fairly short order, as does Payton. Medvedenko goes out, and so does Fisher.
You knew he would. I mean, you could see the conversation, and I think Gary Beatty really was trying to tell him to slow up a little bit. Wow, this is going to be a 2-shot foul before the ball was inbounded. Now, the rule in the NBA, Al, is if you foul before you inbound the ball, it's an automatic 2 shots, and they're calling a hold on Gary Payton.
So Payton, who had just reported into the game, and the look on Jackson's face said it all in this circumstance. And Chauncey Billups goes to the free throw line.
That was Phil Jackson screaming from the inside.
Yes. It's all part of that Zen Buddhism deal,
yes.
isn't it? Yeah, I guess when something like that happens, you know, Phil's pretty good at clearing stuff from his mind, but some stuff just has to linger.
That one is lingering, I guarantee you.
It's the first time in the playoffs that these 5 Lakers have been on the floor together. You have the 4 future Hall of Famers with Walton.
Yeah, and the reason it's the first time is because Walton has averaged only 4 minutes so far in the playoffs.
Luke mainly finishes up. Sometimes, though, Jackson has inserted him in the second quarter tonight in the first.
He's showing a lot of trust, though. Your team was struggling before he came in, and you go to a rookie in Luke Walton who has answered.
And Hamilton drops one.
He didn't need but one or two to go for him, and then you have to be very careful in watching him.
With the Lakers on the floor right now. Hamilton has 6 points. Walton, who has 7 and is the leading scorer in the game, gets an assist on the basket by O'Neal.
You know, Al, the Lakers needed someone other than Kobe or Shaq, not only to score, but to create buckets. Going into this game, most people thought it would be Gary Payton. I don't think any of us thought it would be Luke Walton.
Campbell. Underneath, what a pass. Beauty to Hamilton.
And what a cut.
Well, that's something that Hamilton's pretty good at.
Yeah, Jerry Rice. I mean, he runs great routes.
Good comparison. And is in Jerry Rice's kind of shape as well. Payton takes it from Bryant. So Payton, who was scoreless in the first half in game 1, gets his first basket tonight.
When you get the Stanley Cup, what are you going to do with it?
Well, we got a lot of plants in the States. We're going to take them to the plants. But right now, the players are taking them around.
You're going to have the cup at Game 4 in Detroit?
No. It won't be there for at least another 30 days.
All right. Well, you own the Pistons, you own the Lightning, and you own the WNBA defending champion Shock. This could be a really good year for you.
Yeah, yes, it could. we got a few rings already, and we could use one more always.
2 rings down, maybe 1 to go. Mr. Davidson, good luck. We appreciate it. Al, let's throw it back to you.
All right, thank you, Stu. And technical foul, illegal defense, and so Hamilton goes to the line. Stewart, just tell Mr. Davidson one thing. Don't drink out of the cup. No. Because Stan Kroenke, who owns the Colorado Avalanche, when they won the Stanley Cup a couple of years ago, Doc, told me that he drank out of the cup, like a day afterward, and he was sick for 2 weeks. And Stan is in fantastic shape. So, Mr. Davidson, don't drink out of the cup.
It's the old Canadian water that was left.
Game tied at 31. Prince's shot can't drop, and there's a loose ball foul on Detroit.
Well, I tell you, Larry Brown is close. He is as close as I've seen him to getting the tech right now.
Foul there on Eldon Campbell. That's his 3rd. We've talked a lot about Larry Brown, and we'll through the rest of the series, of course, Ben Wallace. The one thing about Larry Brown, every coach I have ever talked to loves this guy. He has respected the profession as much as any coach in the history of basketball.
Al, he's a coach's coach. He really is. And, the reason you love him is because every rule change, everything is always about the game. I remember when he was with the Philadelphia 76ers and he wanted to adopt the zone rules because he thought that it would help the game, even though he knew at the time that it would hurt his team because it would hurt Allen Iverson. He didn't care. He thought it was good for the game, and that's why most of us call him the coach's coach.
O'Neal drops them both. He reminds me a lot in terms of football, somebody like Don Shula, who always did what was good for the sport.
Yes.
He put the sport in front of his team. Okur. Hamilton gets doubled. Nearly has it taken away. No foul. And then from way outside, Okur misses, and Malone is there for the board.
You know the difference in this game and in game 1. This game also, Al, the Pistons have played great defense, but so have the Lakers tonight, and that's why they're winning this game.
Kobe Bryant drops in a basket, giving him 8. O'Neal has 10. Here's Billups, and that's off the mark. And then Wallace with the back tap to Hamilton.
Oh, Hamilton is second-guessing his shot there.
Okur just saved it, and then Wallace goes in and tries to jam it and gets fouled on the way to the basket.
You know, that's the third time now that Ben Wallace has gotten right to the basket, and the ball has popped out. One thing that needs to be noted is, as big as he is, he has small hands, struggles palming the ball. That's the second or third time now that he hasn't been able to get it. Now, this is off of defense that Kobe Bryant gets a wide-open layup. That's how they can force tempo, the Lakers, by stopping the Pistons and getting out and running.
Wallace is like fouling O'Neal in a way. They're similar in terms of free throw shooters, and there's Kobe asking for the ball, receiving it, and putting it in. 0 for 2 from the line, and Walton with the rebound. For the Pistons, again, Rasheed Wallace, as was the case in the first game, on the bench. He's been out since there were 3 minutes, 7 seconds remaining in the opening period. Bryant is free.
Yeah, the Pistons got to be very careful. You know, the Lakers have been known for their great runs to end quarters, and right now they're on run.
Largest lead in the 2 games for LA. They led by no more than 3 at any point in game 1. They're on a 6-0 run right now. Under 3 to play in the half. Phillips, what accounted, gets fouled, goes to the line. Back again to the Kobe shot.
You know, Phil Jackson told us right before the game, Al, when we were talking to him, that one thing they wanted to do is get Kobe free. Open shots, but without the dribble, moving the ball. They're playing Kobe a lot tonight, like the Detroit Pistons play Rip Hamilton, not letting him take off the dribble, but using him off the ball to get shots.
Phillips now 3 for 3 from the line. Here's Michelle.
You guys were talking about the respect Larry Brown has. As we look at Phil Jackson, first I'll talk about Phil. Jeannie Buss, who is not only the Lakers' executive vice president of business operations, but also Phil Jackson's significant other, reportedly was on a radio station here in LA today and said the chances of Phil returning to the Lakers are 95%. Phil was asked about that before the game, guys, and he said Jeannie was freelancing on that one.
Perfect way to describe it.
Boy, you can see Karl Malone has no lip.
And Bryant goes high in the air to take it away. Walton underneath. O'Neal. And fouled. Luke Walton now has 5 assists.
You can see Shaq running the floor. Once he gets up under the basket, it's all over. And they knew that. Luke Walton, more importantly, knew it and got him the ball. You know, again, Al, this run is being created by Laker defense. This is how they're scoring points.
Up by 7, and Hamilton lost it, but it's picked up only 6 on the shot clock right now. Hamilton with 3, and then a little runner in the lane doesn't go, but they'll get a fresh 24. And Hamilton will pop from the corner and get it for 3.
Boy,
big play.
A second shot. That's just like a turnover.
A dozen points now for Hamilton. He's 5 of 11 from the field. Lakers lead by 4. Minute and a half to go. Bryant from way outside. And then over the top, the foul. O'Neal for the rebound. And Shaquille picks up his first.
It's amazing how little things can turn a run over. You know, right now, the Lakers had all the energy. A loose ball pops out to Rip Hamilton, who had struggled his last couple of shots, gets a wide open 3, makes it, come down, quick shot, foul. Now they have a chance to get 2 more on the free throw line, and they're right back in this game.
Okur at the free throw line with 1:35 to go. Wallace has been on the bench since about the 9-minute mark, 9 minutes into the first quarter, as Okur misses the first. Born in Turkey, played 5 seasons over there. Hedo Turkoglu, of course, is from Turkey as well. Former King, now with the Spurs. 38th pick in the 2001 draft. On the subject of the draft, with a camp going on in Chicago, Doc, and you'll be there the next days. Mitch Kupchak, who's been very instrumental, of course, as the Laker GM in helping construct this team, isn't even here tonight, and he'll miss game 3 because he has to go to that draft camp in Chicago.
And John Hammond and Joe Dumars will be there tomorrow.
O'Neal missed it. Malone gets it back. Carl goes down hard again. Looked for the foul, didn't get it. Gets up fairly gingerly. Prince now from the outside. Oh, that would have been huge.
Boy, I tell you.
And now Walton to Malone. And Malone missed it. Gets a second chance. And the only good news about Malone going down hard and getting up, as I called it, gingerly, is he was still down court and available in case the ball came down there that quickly, which it did.
Yeah, usually we call that a cherry pick, but he didn't do it on that one. He just couldn't get down the floor. And how about Tayshaun Prince missing the three, and he was the guy that blocked Malone's first shot.
After it went all the way around on a 360. Bryant knocks it away, and then Payton with a soft, underhanded pass, and Bryant cashes.
Laker defense is the story so far in the first half. They've been unbelievable. They've been active, and Kobe Bryant has been the leader of their defense so far.
And Detroit, which shot very well the other night, hitting only 35%. Lakers are 42%. 8-second differential. Offensive foul, and Hamilton wound up and gets a technical.
That's frustration. And it's frustration because Kobe Bryant is frustrating him. Before the game, Kobe Bryant and I were sitting on the bench talking, and he said the one thing he wanted to do is to get inside of Rip Hamilton's space to frustrate him.
And that's the case right there. And even though he didn't heave it, Bennett Salvatore is right there to call the technical. The Lakers, of course, will send Bryant, their best free throw shooter, to the line. And that makes it an 8-point lead with 15 seconds left on the clock. And the Lakers will inbound and work it down to the last shot. In comes Rush. In comes Fisher. And that would figure in this situation, you send in a couple of guys who can hit a bomb. O'Neal stays in. Walton will inbound, and Bryant stays in. Lindsey Hunter comes in for Detroit. They also bring Williamson into the game to go with Prince, Billups, and Okur.
And they're going to spread the floor here for Kobe Bryant.
Freelance. Like Phil said Genie was doing. Freelance. They pressure him, and he misses. Okur got out there to get a hand up. Carl is already back in the locker room with that gimpy knee, but the Lakers with a little run at the end after Hamilton picked up his second foul. He and the Pistons go back. Wallace didn't play at all in the second quarter with 2 fouls. The Lakers had 26 points in the period as we go to Michelle.
Well, in spite of some terrific defense you've been playing here in the first half, you were just unhappy with missing that shot. What's going on?
That shot felt good. I should have made it.
You wanted to get more aggressive on Rip Hamilton. How successful do you think you've been in disrupting him?
I did a pretty good job. Not as well as I did in game one. I picked up an early foul. Not really limited my opportunities to really pressure him defensively. But, since I got out of that foul trouble zone, I've been able to be more aggressive.
What do you think Luke Walton's brought to this team tonight?
He's an excellent passer. And he's a good ball handler. And that gives us another threat because we're able to make cuts, and he's able to see guys on the cuts and hit us for easy opportunities.
Kobe, good luck in the second half. Kurt Rambis told me they're definitely playing with more defensive energy, and that's helping on the offensive end. They're pushing the ball the way they'd like, but they're still not executing their offense exactly the way they'd like to, Doc and Al.
Thank you, Michelle. And the Lakers open up with their regular starting 5, not Walton. And you saw the full court pressure applied by Detroit from the outset, and O'Neal on the other end banks one home for a 10-point LA lead.
And that's the execution that Michelle was talking about, and she's right. In the first half they scored points, but it was more off their defense and forcing turnovers. I think Phil Jackson is still upset that they can't score in the half-court offense right now.
Ben Wallace to Rasheed Wallace, who didn't play at all in the second quarter. So again, as was the case the other night, 2 early fouls, came out, and then comes out and scores here to open the third period for Detroit.
Well, he's the one guy that's well rested.
Yes.
It's the second game in a row that he has set the entire first half for the most part.
10 minutes total for him. O'Neal. And then Wallace is there, the well-rested one for the rebound. Tayshaun Prince guarded by Bryant. Hamilton with George on him right now. Then Wallace outside, and Malone got flesh as well as the ball, so the foul is on Carl.
Yeah, and I would predict that you watch Malone, he will reach more in this half because he knows he can't move his feet. So usually when you can't move your feet, you do more reaching.
Walton reassuming what has been a customary position for a guy who plays a few minutes a game. Here's Hamilton, gets free and in and out, but Wallace is there. Rasheed for the rebound. All the way to the other side. Hamilton for three. That doesn't go either. And then O'Neal has the rebound taken away from him. And Shaq goes down.
Now,
and a foul.
I just saw something that I never thought was possible. Tayshaun Prince just knocked Shaquille O'Neal down. That's like a featherweight knocking a super heavyweight down. Impossible.
Well, Prince is listed at about, what, 190 or so?
Wet.
Very wet. And Shaq is 340, but it's kind of that Gilbert Brown 340.
Yeah, it really is.
Anytime a guy's that big, they always list him as 340.
They just stop.
Yeah.
That's where the scale stops.
And whatever he is, Shaq misses that one, but it'll go to the free throw line.
So 3 times down so far in the second half, and 3 times Shaquille O'Neal has touched the basketball. So I'm pretty sure that during the halftime, Phil Jackson said, let's get it to Shaq.
Foul that time on Ben Wallace, and that's 3 on him. O'Neal from the line tonight is 4 of 7, now 5 of 8. So Shaq, who was shooting miserably in the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, was 8 for 12 the other night, 5 out of 8 tonight.
And it looks good.
Yeah.
Sometimes the ball just goes in. It looks good right now.
He looks good, and he keeps moving back from that line, but I've been watching all of their games. I think 15 feet, 8 inches is perfect. When it goes beyond 16, a problem.
You know, they should put a little mark out there for him.
Here's where you line up for your picture. Hamilton into traffic. And a blocking foul here. Foul is on Kobe Bryant, his second foul. Non-shooting.
You know, Michelle talked about before the game about Kobe Bryant guarding Rip Hamilton. And in the first half, he guarded Rip, Hamilton, Billups, and everyone. It will be interesting at the end of the game how much juice he has left, because he's doing both today. He's guarded Rip. When Chauncey started to go, they put him on Chauncey. Now he's back on Rip because Rip is going. Obviously, he's a designated defender. It'll be interesting at the end of the game if that takes away from his offense.
Phillips drew the foul. Foul is on Devin George. That's his first. Chauncey Billups, the big guy the other night with 22, has 7 tonight. Now you can make it 8 with that one. The 8-point right there. Only 2 field goals for him. Point number 9 makes it an 8-point game. LA up by 8 early third quarter. Game 2. Detroit up a game. 1 game to nothing. Will be in Auburn Hills, Michigan, Thursday. That's game 3. Sunday night is game 4.
Boy, you can see the triangle with this view because of the view and how much spacing that the Lakers are getting in their offense.
Bryant finds George. And instead of a triangle, that's a straight line pass and a 10-point lead.
A lot of second shots given up by both teams right now.
Devin George's first points of the game. Underneath Ben Wallace. Ooh, and that is 2 colossi going down.
Yeah,
this is what you'd call it.
It really is, and in my opinion, they shouldn't call it flagrant. Shaquille O'Neal grabbed Ben Wallace more to break his fall instead of breaking his neck.
And that's why you have the discussion right now with the officials.
Yeah, you can see he was just trying to hold on to anything there. Unfortunately for Ben Wallace, he was there. And I think this is good if they don't call a flagrant foul. If they do, I don't like it.
It has the look of not calling one, even though they're still discussing it.
Now, I've been taught as a player, and I teach my players to stay down if you're Ben Wallace, because sometimes you can get to flagrant if you do that. This is a good decision not to do it. You can see there was no ill intent.
So it's just your garden variety shooting foul.
I don't know if Ben Wallace agrees with us right now.
In the box score, that's all it'll look like. He's 0 for 3 now from the line.
Yeah, I think in the box score it should say foul and then put an S by it by Shaq, because I think that hurts a little bit more than a regular foul.
His first of 4, and the lead is 9 for the Lakers right now. George gives it back to Bryant. Prince on Kobe, taken away by the quick hands, but Kobe gets it back. 7 on the 24. Whips it over to Malone. Wow. Underneath to O'Neal.
Oh. I've said it before, but Karl Malone, because he played with John Stockton, no one talked about his passing enough. He's a great passer.
Lakers with their biggest lead of the game, and that was tipped by Payton, and the Lakers do get the steal.
Karl Malone is barely moving up and down the floor, and he has just caused the last 2 plays.
Payton goes all the way. Ben Wallace gets the rebound. Then Kobe reaches in from behind to foul Phillips. Back to the Malone assist.
I mean, this is a bullet. First of all, you have to have great hands, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't talk about with Shaq, and he does. He has great hands, because that was a great pass, but a very tough pass to catch.
Foul on Bryant was his 3rd. So Kobe is the only Laker with more than 2.
And that's dangerous, you know, right now, because you have Kobe Bryant guarding Phillips or Rip Hamilton, and if he picks up that 4th foul, they're going to need someone else in to defend one or both of those guys. I don't know if they have another one.
Lakers are already over the limit with less than 4 minutes having elapsed in this period. That's their 5th foul. Lakers with 16 assists to Detroit's 9. You saw the turnover totals right there, and that one goes out of bounds, and the Pistons trying to climb back in right now after the Lakers had led by 11. It's down to 9, and they have the ball.
And in penalty, which you just mentioned, which is huge this early in a quarter.
Phillips behind the back. And I was looking over at Larry Brown. He just put his head in his lap. So, it's up now. His head went, there it is. That was the original look.
You know, some coaches count to 10 when bad things happen. The problem is, if you're not coaching a great team, you'll miss the game.
Payton. Quick hands of Big Ben to swipe it away.
Yeah, travel.
Turnover by the Pistons. That's their 13th of the game. The Lakers have given it up 9 times. 7.5 remaining in the 3rd quarter. But the Lakers, named after the land of 10,000 lakes.
Yeah.
So now they move to the land of 10 lakes, but they're still the Lakers. You don't even think about the affiliation anymore.
And Utah is still the Jazz.
That's right.
The Hornets are still the Hornets.
Right.
You know, it's amazing.
You carry the name with you.
Yeah, you do.
Sometimes it works, and sometimes you go, what?
Yeah.
Dodgers, of course, carried the name west as Kobe Bryant sinks one from just inside the arc. Long 2.
And Phil Jackson didn't draw that one up. No. That was just great offense, because the defense was pretty good.
Wallace with a turnaround, and so Rasheed, who was on the bench most of the first half, comes out 2 for 2 to begin the 3rd period.
Yeah, and if I'm Larry Brown, I look and seek out Rasheed Wallace for 2 reasons. One, he has a size advantage over Karl Malone, a quickness advantage, and Malone is injured and playing.
What a pass by Malone to a cutting Devin George inside.
You know, basically, they've made Malone now the passer. They know he's struggling moving, so what they're doing is giving him the ball and moving around him.
On the offensive end and the defensive end, of course, he does all of the dirty work. He had Tim Duncan. He had Kevin Garnett. And right now he has Rasheed Wallace, who beats him again. So yeah. Wallace with a half dozen now in the period.
I think it's a good move by Larry Brown, because he knows right now that Malone isn't moving well, and he also can see that Rasheed Wallace is starting to get it going.
Bryant, pressured by Prince, shoots over him. And then fighting his way for the rebound was O'Neal, and he will be called for the foul. His third.
I mean, it's amazing when you look. You can see right now, this is where Karl Malone is looking. I mean, you can look at his eyes, but watch the back cut of Devin George. Bam, right there. Sometimes you have a first option and a second option. George was the second option. It's like a quarterback checking off. I'm giving you these football references pretty good today.
Doc, I mean, you know, if you hadn't taken the Celtic job, John Madden would be very worried right now. Meanwhile, Kobe has a little blood on him. They're going to wipe it off, and unless that's taken care of immediately, as Dr. Steve Lombardo comes out along with the trainer, Gary Vitti. Kobe says it's like a fight. You know, hey, ref, here I am.
Well, guys hide. It's amazing, that blood rule. You'll see guys hiding, trying to stay away from the officials. It's pretty funny sometimes what guys will do to get unnoticed in those cases.
Ben Wallace at the line makes the second. Quite in contrast to hockey, where you'll do anything you can to cut yourself after a penalty call to get 5 minutes instead of 2. Bryant softly. Wow.
I'm watching the interplay right now with Rip Hamilton and Kobe Bryant, and we all knew that these two guys grew up together. You're watching them play right now. They're going after each other.
High school rivals in Pennsylvania. What a move by Wallace to bank it in.
That is an absolutely great move. And you can see Shaq late there. He was trying to get there. I think they're going to start bringing Shaq over a little bit quicker to help.
Payton works it inside, and then Malone gets fouled by Wallace.
And Wallace was caught sleeping. Karl Malone slipped in there. I'll tell you, Karl Malone right now, hats off, because you can see him struggling, and this might be his best stretch. It is his best stretch in the finals so far. He's been very effective.
Third foul on Wallace. And it's almost, we talked about it when he went out earlier, Doc, it's almost mind over matter right now. You know he's hurting. He was hurting coming into the game. He tweaked it again. He went back to the locker room for a while, got into a little verbal exchange with Gary Vitti, the trainer, and just playing through everything right now.
Yeah, he really is. And I tell you what he's doing now. He reminds me of an old veteran player who knows everything. You know, he can't do everything physically, but he's just a step smarter with his brain right now than the other guys on the floor.
9-point game. Dr. Tafoya.
Well, no more on his physical condition, but I can tell you emotionally, yesterday I spoke with him. He was quite emotional when he said it's important to him to get a championship, Malone. But he said the most important legacy I want to leave with my team is that they all know that I am a caring person that cared for every single guy on the bench from 1 to 12. And from every other Laker that I've talked to, they certainly do know that. He has been the big brother that this locker room has needed, Al.
Bryant has to take a timeout, and Billups doing everything he can to keep Detroit in the game and make it a lot tougher. The great figure skating champion, Michelle Kwan. Michelle at the game. Of course, you know that Jack's going to be here. Jack's movie schedule must prohibit any activity. John Cusack at the game as well. Denzel Washington.
He's being very shy right now.
Yeah. Cool.
You know, Spike Lee and Jack Nicholson are the only two stars that right when you see them, you associate them with a sports team.
And they each pay for their own tickets, which I think is really
that's
cool.
Pretty cool.
They don't badger their agents. 59, 53.
They can afford
Lakers.
it.
Yes.
Both of them.
Well, guys badger their agents because the agents can afford it too.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's Bryant. And then Malone tries to get it over to Shaq and out of bounds, but off Detroit. And they'll reset the clock to 14.
It's funny. Kobe's looking at Karl, and the first thing you can see Kobe thinking, Karl really isn't healthy right now, and that's why he gave it up.
Let me correct that. They will not reset the clock at 2, and it stays at 2, which means it's an inbound pass and then a quick shot.
Where's Fisher?
He's on the bench. Here's Malone. He has to launch one. That would have brought the house down. But Bryant keeps it alive for LA. Ticking down to 4 minutes left in the period. 6-point LA lead.
Wow.
Shaq inside. Wallace impeded it enough on the front end that Shaq had to go to the backside.
Yeah, I tell you, Shaq got it so deep. I'm really surprised he didn't try to dunk that. You know, you're looking at this game, and it looks like the Lakers are dominating the game. It's a 6-point game right now.
6-point game. Detroit not making it easy. And open is Hamilton. And now it is a 3-point game.
That play was called. It's amazing the little things in our game. That play was called by Rasheed Wallace. You know, we talked about Shaq coming to double. He did. By him doubling, the Lakers had to rotate and then left the open guy.
And then Payton, who had everybody covered, and looked at Malone saying, Carl, you should have come back to me, and that caused him to walk with it.
And Carl's thinking, I couldn't come back. I can't move out here.
3.5 to go in the third. Let's check in with Stuart Scott.
Al, a few timeouts ago, Larry Brown was as upset as we've seen him the last couple of games. He was telling his team, you guys got to move the ball. Throw it to your teammate. I promise they will throw it back. He was more mellow this time out, but he did keep saying, move the ball from side to side. Get the ball from one person to another. While he was doing this, Chauncey Billups, who usually doesn't say a whole lot, yelled at his teammates, guys, all that stuff that's happened to us, and we're right here. And just before they got up to leave the huddle, Larry Brown said, hey, guys, hey, we got to win this next 3 minutes.
Larry Brown breaking the game down into segments. Billups got fouled, and so Chauncey will go to the free throw line.
And we talked about that in game one. The Detroit Pistons were talking about winning the first 3 minutes and the last 3 minutes of the half and quarters, and they're doing that right now.
In comes Campbell with a start. Wallace goes out. Starter against starter tonight when the starting five has remained on the floor mano a mano. Detroit is up 32-25. Here's Michelle.
Well, guys, I just spoke with Kurt Rambis during the timeout. He agreed. Rasheed Wallace giving them problems. I said, at what point is Karl Malone become a defensive liability? And he said, ooh, that's a good question. Look for some substitutions soon, guys.
Not yet, because Malone right now still in the game. Lakers with their starting five, and O'Neal gets fouled by Campbell after Detroit cuts what at one point was an 11-point lead to 1.
I tell you, Shaquille O'Neal, Al, in game one and in game two, has been as aggressive as I've seen him all year, in a consistent basis. When he gets the ball on the post right now, he is going for it, and he is playing hard.
It's June.
Yeah, he can see the finish line.
Yeah. This is the first here. That foul on Campbell was his fourth. And again, Luke Walton, so instrumental in the surge in the first half, remains on the bench. Or in Luke's case, he just likes to sit on the floor. 60-58. Lakers on top by 2. Under 3 to go in the third quarter. And the importance of the second game. No team has ever lost the first 2 at home and won the championship. A dilemma which would face the Lakers if the Pistons pull this one out. Prince drives, reverse, doesn't go. But there is Campbell in the lane to keep it alive. To Hamilton, got it back. And then the ball, with it going out of bounds, kicked out of bounds. And a foul on Malone.
Yeah, you know, it was a great sales job by Rip Hamilton. I actually thought he was tripped. But what Rip Hamilton did, and players do this, they go to the floor, they make sure that they're going to get the call. I mean, let's take a look here. Yeah, Rip Hamilton decided, I'm going to fall, I'm going to force the call, and pretty smart move by Rip Hamilton.
It gets him to the line because the Lakers long ago were over the limit in fouls in the period. In now comes Meadow Cooler, and he replaces Eldon Campbell again with all the guys guarding Shaq. We talked about it the other night. Doc mentioned you've got 24 fouls in effect if you need them. So it's no big deal when a guy picks up 4. You have 3 other guys who fill that role.
No, if any team is suited for foul trouble at the 4 or 5 position, the Detroit Pistons, they're the team.
And one of the stunning things the other night is that the Lakers out-fouled the Pistons. Lakers didn't even take a free throw until it was late in the second half in terms of free throws after the break. Foul here.
That's what Phil Jackson was talking about. You know, besides the Lakers needing to play better defense, he also thought that the Lakers needed to attack the basket more. And they didn't do that. They're doing that more tonight, though they did it in the first half. They're not doing a great job right now of doing it in the second half. You don't go to the foul line if you don't attack the basket.
Shaq again. Shaquille is now 8 out of 12, which is where he wound up the other night from the free throw line. So hitting 67%. Lakers still lead by 2 after that miss with 2:10 to go in the third. Payton pressures Billups. Chauncey found some room, and then O'Neal is there. Ball on the way down, but wouldn't have gone in, so it's no goaltending. And Gary Payton now brings it into the front court for LA. Bryant over into the corner. Malone.
I tell you, now he has been absolutely fantastic, and it's not been with his shooting. You know, he makes the shot there, which is a good sign. To me, it's more all the little things that he's done.
9 for Carl tonight. Billups. Follow is short by Wallace.
Even that play, but look at him go up the floor.
Bryant. Larry's team down by 6. 1 minute remaining in the third. Billups got it. 3.
Gary Payton chose to go under. All evening so far, Payton's done a fantastic job, in my opinion, because he's worked over the pick and roll. On that one time, he decided to go under it, and Billups burned him.
Billups now has 19 points. Here's Devin George from the corner. 68-62. Billups again goes by Payton, and Gary fouls him on the way to the hoop.
You know, it was interesting. Gary Payton was talking to Shaq. By the time he turned around, Billups was already up on him. That's why he just committed that foul.
Spotted the opening. Here comes Derek Fisher into the game. Lindsey Hunter will close out the period for Detroit. Billups 9 out of 10, now 10 out of 11. Finals on a Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday rotation. And that would be the case for games 5, 6, and 7 if necessary. Bryant gets free from 3.
Man, that was a heat check.
Ooh, yeah.
It really was, because you can see Kobe starting to feel it right now. Big shot here for the Pistons.
Pistons will, in all likelihood, get the final shot of the quarter. Milking it down. Kobe stays with Billups, but then Billups gets free inside. Now Bryant trying to push the ball up the court for the final shot of the period. Kobe will stop, starts to slip, and that prayer doesn't get answered, and it's a 2-point game. So we are set up for another pretty good finish here in game 2. Huge game, especially for the Lakers. Here's Stewart.
Al, again, Larry Brown showing why he is the consummate coach. He goes through all of their planning, all of their strategy for the timeout, and then he says to the guys, look, they're supposed to beat us. We're not supposed to beat them, especially the way we played in the first half. And they're only 2 points down. And as they broke the huddle, Rasheed Wallace yelled at his teammates twice. He said, be hungry. Be hungry. Al?
X's and O's and a little bit of psychology. And that is Prince getting the rebound off the missed Okur shot.
I tell you, Tayshaun Prince has been very effective in this game.
He's not lighting it up, but he's doing all the little things like that just there. He had 5 points in the first quarter and none since. 3-pointer on the way from Hunter, and there it is again.
Yeah, he keeps making little plays That's what Larry Brown needs him to do.
Hamilton to try to tie it, and does. So the Detroit Pistons down by 11 in the third have caught him with Rasheed Wallace on the bench. Billups had 16 points in the third quarter, 8 of 8 from the line. Doc, he was the X factor the other night. He's the X factor tonight too, along with Prince.
And the Laker X factor in the first half hasn't played in the second half.
O'Neal missing, and Detroit with the ball and a chance to take the lead for the first time since the second period. Loose in the lane, and Hunter comes away with it. Shot clock to 7. Hamilton fell down. Now to 3. And you'll hear the buzzer and the 24-second violation.
That might have been the worst fast break I've ever seen. Wow.
Might be the worst possession
Yeah, that
you've
was
seen in a while.
It started out as a fast break, and it turned into a bad possession. Here comes Luke Walton, just like you just said. You know, he hasn't played in this second half, so Phil Jackson is leaning on a rookie down the stretch of the game.
And now you have Ben Wallace trying to steal it, and it goes out of bounds, and it's off Wallace. Corliss Williamson will check in. Prince goes out.
Yeah, well, if you thought the Shaq-Ben Wallace collision was bad, Derek Fisher is thinking right now, this is worse.
Bryant Cook is now going to come into the game, too. Another look here.
Bryant Cook is coming into the game because on that last play, that was Nebedinko that should have flashed to the ball. He didn't. Almost caused a turnover. Phil Jackson can't afford to wait right now for anyone.
Cook, their #1 draft choice, who doesn't play very much and hasn't played at all tonight, winds up on the floor and winds up in a jump ball situation.
And you're seeing right now, Al, the weakness of the Laker bench. You know, it's a tie game. You lost the first game. There's 10 minutes left, and you have 2 rookies in the game for the Lakers who really haven't played in the playoffs.
It's crazy with so much on the line. Cook and Wallace wins the tip. So Detroit again trying to take the lead, erasing an 11-point deficit. Hamilton guarded by Kareem Rush. Rush got a hand in. Now Walton comes out to pressure. Hamilton gets it to Okur with Shaq 20 feet from the basket. Three-pointer here. Goes from Lindsey Hunter.
Boy, Derek Fisher took his eyes off of Lindsey Hunter for 1 second, and that 1 second cost him 3 points.
Detroit's first lead since it was 30-29. Rush got it. 71-70 Detroit. Hunter, who won a ring as a Laker.
This is going to Rip Hamilton.
Instead, underneath to Okur. It's dropped out of bounds off Okur's knee. Should have gone to Hamilton.
It should have. Well, it was, because Hamilton was coming off. They decided to help, and a good look by Lindsey Hunter because Okur was open.
Now Fisher, pressured from behind. Off balance, Ben Wallace clears the board.
Bad possession.
And then Hunter gets fouled by Walton as he crosses midcourt. Doc, Phil Jackson has a look on his face in December and then a little different look in February, and then he has the June look.
Yeah, this is June. This is full June look right now, and you know, he is really barking orders right now. Something you don't see a lot from Phil Jackson because he's so calm and he tries to get his players to play under that calm. But I'm going to tell you right now, Phil Jackson is sensing the sense of urgency in this game, and he's trying to get his players to see it also. I also think at times Phil Jackson, he puts in young guys and different guys to send messages to his other veteran players, and I think that little stint we saw was one of the reasons he did that.
Heck of a time to send a message.
He's decided to go real small.
And there's Walton trying to steal it and out of bounds.
Interesting. Larry Brown is huge. Phil Jackson has gone the other way. I mean, look what he has on the floor. He basically has Shaq and 4 smalls.
He has Fisher and he has Rush, and that makes Kobe the small forward. Walton in the game, O'Neal as well, and they force the turnover.
And you know what Phil Jackson said before the game, we have to pressure them. We have to put ball pressure on them. He hasn't been able to get it the way he wanted to, so what he's decided to do is go small and put ball pressure on him that way. That's how he got the 5-second count.
Bryant guarded by Hamilton. Fisher from the corner. Lakers by a deuce, 73-71.
Yeah, and I think when Larry Brown, the counter for that is to go small with them. Not as small as the Lakers, but to match up a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ben Wallace or Corliss Williamson come out of the game right now.
Phillips stays on the bench. Hunter stays in. Here's Hamilton. Drives on Walton. Doesn't go. Rush gets the board. Fisher, he's got Wallace on him outside. Now Wallace switches off underneath. Kobe takes it. Not too many guys make that shot.
No, not too many guys make that agile or that shot. But I tell you, this last minute and a half has been caused by going small. The substitution by Phil Jackson. Excellent move.
Tonight, I asked him how much he learned about the Pistons in Game 1. He told me we were soundly defeated in Game 1. We learned the Pistons get a lot of help from their bench, but we still have not seen their full arsenal. It makes you think they're learning on the job. Now let's check in with Stu.
Michelle, during the timeout, Larry Brown gathered his team around and he said, guys, I couldn't write it any better than this. We're in their home court. They had a 12-point lead on us, and we're in this thing. He said, what just happened? The Lakers' little mini run before the timeout. He said, that's just 2 minutes. That's all that is. 2 minutes. Al?
2 minutes with 7:39 to play in the fourth. The foul was on Derek Fisher. Lakers' second team foul. Fisher's second. Detroit has not committed a team foul in this period. Wallace has it swatted away. Now Billups gets tripled, and then Ben Wallace underneath gets hammered by O'Neal. 4 fouls on Shaquille O'Neal.
But not a bad one. You know, Shaquille O'Neal is looking at this. They have a 4-point lead. They're on a run. If he allows Ben Wallace to have that dunk, that's 2 points. If he fouls him, there's a chance, and pretty good chance, that he'll split him at best.
Right, just like O'Neal, a 40-some-odd% free throw shooter.
That just saved 1 point. That
right
foul.
there. Hack-a-ben.
Hack-a-ben.
Missed them both. Bryant gets the rebound. So as it turns out, 4th foul, a little dangerous. Turns out in that particular possession to be the right thing, as Big Ben is now 2 of 8 from the stripe. And then Bryant gets fouled by Prince. First team foul.
You can see the adjustment Kobe Bryant has made in this game, other than Game 1 where he was settling for jump shots. He is really attacking the basket and using the in-between game more.
The inbounded with 14 on the reset timer.
Boy, Shaq wants the ball.
Gets it. 4 on the clock. And Ben Wallace rejects it soundly.
That doesn't happen very often.
Prince, defended by Bryant, works off the screen, gets free but misses, but then gets his own rebound and gets fouled. Foul on Bryant.
Boy, I tell you, Tayshaun Prince is just so long. He's making things happen.
14 offensive rebounds for Detroit. That's 4 now on Bryant. So Bryant has 4. O'Neal has 4. The only Piston with 4 would be Eldon Campbell, who comes off the bench. Billups on the run. Got fouled. Foul is on Fisher.
Yeah, you're going to see a steady dose now of pick and roll from the Detroit Pistons. They know that Shaq doesn't want to help. One of the reasons Shaquille O'Neal doesn't like helping out is because he picks up little chippy fouls by showing. So he hates doing it. Now with 4 fouls, Larry Brown knows there's no way he's going to show.
Chauncey Billups is 12 out of 13 from the free throw line, which figures he was an 88% free throw shooter during the regular season and 88 coming into this game in postseason. Makes them both, and the Pistons have cut it to 2. Shaquille O'Neal blank in this quarter. He has 20 in the game. Walton sets the screen for Bryant. 18-footer doesn't go, but Shaquille is there for the rebound. And then out of bounds, Wallace was there, and they say it's off Big Ben. Fisher will inbound it. Here's Walton. Dishes it to O'Neal, and will that be an offensive foul? Oh, baby. Wow. That's 5. And keep in mind, too, if you go into overtime. I mean, you've got 5 right now, so he has 6:17 left. And who knows if it winds up in a tie. And now Malone comes off the bench, and Jackson is compelled to sit O'Neal at this point.
And I thought that was a bad call. I really did. I thought it was more of a flop on Ben Wallace's part. But great flop because he drew the foul.
Hollywood, it works.
Yes.
Here's Rasheed Wallace trying to angle. Malone is there. Rasheed misses, but again, another offensive rebound. Ben Wallace.
Well, you know, Al, the Lakers decided to go small. That's fine when you have Shaq in because he is so big, he can cover up some mistakes. Now they're small. It'll be interesting if they can hang on the boards with the Pistons.
Small, and they have to go with Malone as their big guy, and he's got the bad knee. Fisher missing. Back come the Pistons with a chance to tie it or take the lead with a 3.
Really surprised that they're not going low with Rasheed Wallace with Luke Walton guarding him. Oh, there he is.
There he is. Rasheed Wallace to the hoop. Tied at 75.
Yeah, with Walton guarding Rasheed Wallace and him wanting to help Walton as much as he does, you kind of felt that they had to go to Rasheed Wallace.
You look at Shaq with his 5 fouls. How important is Shaq to the Lakers? If you projected it on a 48-minute basis or the time of a game, when he's been on the court, the Lakers would win the game by 8 points. When he's off the court, they would lose the game 94-70. They'd be a 24-point loser.
Yeah, and most coaches all go by plus minus. And I mean, it's an obvious one, Al, and you're right. When Shaq's off the floor, they are a different basketball team for a lot of reasons. Obviously because of his size, but because their offense starts through Shaquille O'Neal. Without him on the floor, it really is a different type of triangle offense.
So here are the Lakers, the team of stars with Fisher, Rush, and Walton in the final 5 minutes of a critical game as Bryant drives all the way to the hoop and gives LA a 2-point lead.
Well, I tell you, Kobe Bryant has made some of the most difficult shots that I've seen in a long time in one game.
Rasheed Wallace. Phillips. 77 all.
Yeah, and that play was set up. It was looking like they wanted to go to Rasheed Wallace, and that's what they were trying to sell. But that play was out of a timeout all the way for Chauncey Billups.
Billups has 27 points off his 22-point performance in game 1. Walton feeds it back to Bryant. 6 on the shot clock. Now 3. Kobe's going to get it off. And it's tapped back out to Hamilton. Detroit with a chance to get the lead back. 4 minutes to play.
You can hear the tension in this building.
Hamilton driving. Got it. Shaquille O'Neal is ready to report back in.
Yeah, I think what Phil Jackson is doing is looking at the score and not the clock on when to sub.
And Bryant is furious he didn't get a foul.
Wow. It did look like he was hit on the arm on the shot.
Hamilton. 8 on the shot. Malone goes down, no foul. It's dropped off. Reverse layup. and jammed by Ben Wallace. O'Neal back in. So the Lakers down the stretch now with Fisher and Rush. Bryant, Walton, and O'Neal.
This is going right to Shaq.
With his 5 fouls. Now Rush to Fisher in the corner for a big three. Ooh, is that a big three?
Boy, I tell you what.
Wow.
Great patience, Al, by Rush.
Crowd on its feet. Hamilton. Fisher couldn't get the rebound, and Wallace takes it out of his hands and puts it in. Fisher was there, but Big Ben took it away and jammed it.
And again, Phil Jackson has decided to go small again. And by going small, you're going to give up some offensive rebounds.
Rush couldn't get it into O'Neal. Bryant all the way. How did he do that?
I have no
How
idea.
did he do that?
Al, did you think he could get through?
Two guys are coming over. I mean, it's like there's nothing there. Hamilton, big deuce.
They're going to have
85-82.
to put Kobe Bryant back on Rip Hamilton because Rip missed the last shot that was open for him. They ran the exact same play, and he made that one.
Here's Bryant for the tie. O'Neal trying to get the rebound. It's loose. Detroit has it, but it was on the end line. Last touch by a Laker, and Detroit has it.
Quick shot from Kobe there. I was really surprised that early in the possession that he would go for that deep of a three-point shot.
Down by 3, thinking 3 at that point. Huge defensive possession here. Detroit possession for the Lakers. Hamilton almost has it taken away. A foul is called. They're going to call it on Fisher.
Now again, Rush guarding Rip Hamilton, and Rip Hamilton is starting to make things happen. Now, the reason that it's very difficult to take Kobe off and put him on is because Kobe is guarding Tayshaun Prince. But you can see the reach there in the foul.
Hamilton now 3 out of 4 from the line. It's a 4-point lead. 79 seconds to play. 23 for Hamilton. 27 for Billups. Got them both up by 5. The Lakers have 4 guys on the court who can make threes. Fisher, Walton, Rush, and Bryant. Here goes Bryant. Smells the basket, gets fouled on the way in.
Yeah, not a bad option, getting a quick foul by Kobe Bryant. You can see his adjustment is to attack the basket. They need to do this. This is what's difficult now, Al, because you would love to go to Shaquille O'Neal, but the Detroit Pistons absolutely will foul Shaq if he gets too deep now. See, this is where Kobe has to take the game over, and the Pistons know it.
That was Rasheed Wallace's 4th foul, and of all things, Bryant, terrific from the line, misses that. That's the lineup coming up next. Local news, Nightline, Jimmy Kimmel Live, except on the West Coast. Here comes Malone into the game. Rush goes out.
Yeah, and this is a defensive substitution. This is also a substitution now to allow Kobe Bryant to switch back over to Rip Hamilton.
1 of 2 for Bryant. 87-83. Ticking down to a minute. Billups. Chauncey clearing it out. Then Hamilton gets free. Shot clock at 6. What a rebound by Wallace, and he puts it back in. He is just magnificent on the glass. 14 rebounds for Ben Wallace. Now Shaq has to get it out to Malone, looking for the 3. Here's Bryant, a pressured 3. That doesn't go. O'Neal with a rebound, gets the putback and gets fouled. And now up comes a huge foul shot for O'Neal.
And of all the times not to foul Shaq, that was the time.
That was the time. Exactly.
You know, again, Ben Wallace had Luke Walton guarding him because Karl Malone tried to help on the shot by Rip Hamilton.
Now Kareem Rush comes back in. Jackson's got to get his three-point man back out and replaces Derek Fisher.
Yeah, and the reason he's bringing a big lineup in because he's worried about the size of Billups. Now, so what Phil Jackson is going to do, he's going to put Rush back on Hamilton, and he's going to put Kobe on Billups because of the size factor.
Not elegant, a line drive goes in. It's a three-point game. Shaq 9 of 14. And Hamilton avoids a double team by Walton and Rush and then takes a timeout as they stayed with him right to the sideline. So 30.4 seconds remain, 19 on the 24, and Detroit up by 3. If the Lakers lose, and we mentioned it a couple of times already tonight, no team has ever lost 2 at home, the first 2, and gone on to win it. Detroit would then simply have to win 2 of 3 at home. The Lakers would be forced into a situation they'd have to win 4 of 5. They came from down 2 to San Antonio, but those 2 losses were on the road.
Well, and this was huge right here by Rip Hamilton because he was trapped. Kareem Rush let him out of that trap. I tell you, Rip Hamilton had nowhere to go, made a great spin move, and tightrope the sideline. You know, little plays make series. That was a huge play. All he did was broke the half-court line. That's all he needed to do. Now they have a timeout and a chance to drop a play. The key for the Pistons right now is obviously they don't want to take a quick shot. They want to use the clock and probably get the ball in Billups or Hamilton's hand. We'll probably run a pick and roll somewhere with Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, and look for that shot.
Do the Lakers take a chance and foul early?
They could think about it. The problem is Rip Hamilton is an excellent free throw shooter. So is Billups. Now, some coaches would foul and just say, I don't care, let's extend the game. I think Phil Jackson is thinking with 30 seconds left, if we get a stop, we can go for a 3 to tie the score. So he might decide not to foul.
Kobe Bryant, meanwhile, who's normally a pretty good three-point shooter, 33% in his career. In the fourth quarter in the playoffs, he's 4 for 28.
You can say he's struggling or he's due. It depends on what side of the fence you're on.
Probably a combo platter. Prince to inbound.
If Ben Wallace touches the ball, they will foul him.
11-second differential. A little handoff, like a football handoff to Billups. He'll go all the way. There's no foul call, but the Lakers get the rebound. And here comes Kobe. He looks over at the bench. Phil says, well, it's interesting. Phil, at first, didn't call for the timeout. Bryant took it into the front court, which is one of the things he wanted to do. And then Walton looked over and saw Jackson and called the timeout with 10.9.
You know what he wanted? He wanted them to get the rebound and push it up and look for a quick 3. But because they took their time, then he decided we have to call a timeout. He wanted them to go.
Yeah, he was caught in between in a way, yeah.
You can see him sitting at first waiting, and then because they were so passive coming up the floor, it was a good timeout. Now, as a coach, I think that's a good move.
The one thing Jackson has done, he's left himself without a timeout. How big is it? Well, especially in the inbounds pass, it could be big. Never forget, there were 2 timeouts called before Derek Fisher hit his shot with 0.4 of a second in San Antonio. So they were able to, in effect, set up 3 different plays. So they have to make sure they can inbound the ball here because they do not have a timeout remaining.
Yeah, and that's big. It's big for a couple of reasons. If they had a timeout, Al, they would probably go for a 2 and then foul and then call a timeout after the free throws. But because they don't have a timeout, they're almost forced now into taking a 3-point shot unless they can get a quick 2, and I mean a quick 2.
In the Fisher game, that play Jackson drew up when they huddled had nothing to do with the play he knew they would run. They were going to run it at least in terms of pattern, and then call a timeout. Now they can't. This has to be his inbounds play. The Lakers are 5 out of 16 as a team from three-point land tonight. Malone will inbound. Fisher's in the game. Walton, O'Neal, and of course Bryant.
And everyone is paying attention to Kobe Bryant.
They start with Shaq. He gives it to Walton. Here comes Kobe. Less than 5 from way outside. Got it! Oh, man! With 2.1. I can only think of the words of my pal John Davidson, who just finished the Stanley Cup playoffs. He has the greatest phrase for this. Oh, baby!
I can think of one name. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant has it. Whatever that it is, Al, he has it. He has the ability to make big shots. The mistake there was Rip Hamilton giving room. You can see him backing up. You know he has to take a three-point shot. I was really surprised that Rip Hamilton gave him so much room. Now, in Rip's defense, what Rip was thinking is don't foul the shooter. But you have to know that Kobe Bryant is going to take that shot. There was only 3 seconds on the clock. You have to know it, and you have to get up into him and force him to do something else. But I tell you, Kobe Bryant has it just like Michael Jordan had it. They have the ability to make shots. You just showed that Kobe Bryant in the fourth quarter was 14% from the three-point line. And when that ball went up, I believe you and me both believe that that thing was going in.
Better than 50-50, I know that. You know, Shaquille had the big three-point play, made the foul shot. Bryant made it. Now, again, Detroit inbound in the front court. 2.1 remaining.
You know, and it was interesting, too, there, because the Pistons had a chance to foul Shaq when he touched the ball.
Bryant with 29 points. Prince will inbound. Pistons line up vertically, break it. Prince looking. And then it's taken away by Malone, who falls into the photographers. The game clock shows 0, and we will go to overtime. Here we go to overtime. Each team with their 3 regular timeouts, and the Pistons didn't use their 22nd, and that carries to the 4th, so they have, in effect, an extra timeout.
And the biggest part of this overtime is 2 things. 1, Shaq has 5 fouls, and 2, 64% of the time, the team who scores the first bucket, Al, wins the game.
There it is, right there. 6 and you're gone. Both Wallaces and Campbell with 4. Peyton, Fisher, and Bryant with 4. To Shaq! LA on an 8-0 run.
Everyone is standing around right now for the Pistons.
Rasheed Wallace. And O'Neal fights for the rebound. It goes out of bounds. They're going to give it to Detroit. Walton and O'Neal right there, out of bounds. Fresh 24.
Yeah, you can see that last possession. Everyone in Detroit was standing around waiting for the other guy to do something.
Phillips guarded by Fisher. Hamilton, Kobe comes in there, and Kobe gets the foul. And that's 5 fouls on Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, so they're a foul away from being in a big trouble. And as crazy as it sounds in an overtime period, down the stretch, the guy that they can't lose is Kobe Bryant.
So Bryant and O'Neal each with 5, with 4:11 left in the overtime period. Non-shooting foul. Phillips off balance, doesn't get it. That time they had moved Shaq outside. Can't take the chance of him fouling underneath.
No, they couldn't. And not only that, they couldn't take the chance of Shaq stepping out.
Bryant off a Malone screen all the way. Oh, got the bounce. 31 for Bryant, 25 for O'Neal. No other Laker in double figures. Phillips has 27. Hamilton has 24 for the Pistons. Phillips carrying on a conversation with Steve Javie. Shot clock at 7. Hamilton whips it outside to Prince. Shot clock at 1. Did he get it off? No, he didn't.
The Pistons are standing around now and watching. They're not moving the ball like Larry Brown wants them to. They're not as active. They are almost shell-shocked from that shot that Kobe made. And now Kobe Bryant is taking over this game.
Crowd uproarious. Walton. Bryant. Here's O'Neal. 6-point lead. Near steal by Fisher. Lakers trying to square it. That would cement a game 5.
At this
Lakers
rate,
on a 12-0 run.
At this rate, I would like to see an 11-game series.
At least. Hamilton, little runner in the lane goes to make it a 4-point
Good
lead.
move by Larry Brown. He knows now that if Rip Hamilton is aggressive, Kobe Bryant has to avoid the foul.
Has to back off. Lakers trailed 89-83 with 36 seconds left. O'Neal, the three-point play. Bryant had the 3. Kobe off the glass.
Wow.
He lives for this. He just lives for this. 33 for Bryant. Phillips inside the arc. Would have been a 2. Malone gets the rebound. Ticking down to 2 minutes. And then Bryant loses the ball.
Yeah, he was trying to do too much there, but I can understand after watching these last ones.
Here's Rasheed Wallace for 3, not even close, and Fisher gets the board. A little bit of clock milking time for the Lakers right here. Minute and a half, 6-point lead.
Big possession right here. Going to Shaq.
Inside, gets doubled. Walton.
Oh.
O'Neal! Meanwhile, there's Bryant. 14 in the 4th and overtime. He had 19 in the first 3 quarters. It's an 8-point game, a minute 22. Detroit inbounding in the front court. Rasheed Wallace. From outside, that would have been a 3 by Hamilton. Swatted around. Comes back into the hands of Hamilton, and now nothing dropping for Detroit. Hamilton will try it again. Still nothing. 3 possessions, they do nothing. The crowd with a Luke serenade. Seven on the timer. Bryant. Lakers get it back. And that will just about, as the late, great Chick Hearn would say, the eggs are cooling, the butter's getting hard, it's in the refrigerator. It's an ode to one of the great broadcasters, maybe the best ever.
Yeah, he really was. And boy, I tell you, he has seen or saw a lot of great ones, but this one was a great one.
I'm telling you, thinking about him in a situation like this, with the history of this Laker franchise, with all of the drama, the for the Pistons now, that red-eye flight, which we had talked about as being a short one, will become about 4 hours longer.
It's going to be a long flight. And they don't expect to get in until about 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning.
Lakers will fly tomorrow. It's an off day. Fourth game would be Sunday night. The third game on Thursday night as Bryant drives in. Actually has that one cleanly blocked. And now Hamilton gets fouled by Devin George.
And good foul because the Detroit Pistons are not in the penalty. Devin George got in front of the ball, and so the Pistons have to take it out on the side.
Lindsey Hunter and Corliss Williamson will come in. The Lakers on the verge of squaring the series and guaranteeing a 5th game. Meanwhile, Gary Payton, and that has been the case for most of the year, on the bench in the 4th. Brian Russell, Slava Medvedenko, of course, with Kareem Rush and the rest. And tonight it was Luke Walton's turn to come off the bench and do it.
And one question has been answered in this game. Will Kobe Bryant be tired at the end of the game by guarding Billups and by guarding Rip Hamilton? I think Phil Jackson now has his answer.
Since the Lakers trail with 36 seconds to go, 89-83, Bryant goes down. There's no foul called. Shaquille O'Neal has 9 points. Kobe Bryant has 7 points. They have all 16 with 5 fouls. Amazing. What a game. What a game. Auburn Hills is next. Tell you what, this will be some series.
It really is, Al.
What a start.
Well, like I told you, get very comfortable because this series is going to go deep. And I think what stands out to me, a great comeback by the Lakers, but the Pistons are going to be here for this series.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they're disheartened right now. They got their one, but they thought they should have had 2. Here's Michelle.
Go.
Hey, I'm with Kobe Bryant. Kobe, what is it about pressure situations and overtime that brings out the best in you with 5 fouls, no less?
You know, it's all about the challenge. I mean, we're playing for the highest stakes, and I can rise to that.
Talk about that 3-point shot you took to tie it up and send it to overtime. What was the play, and what went through your mind right as you launched that?
Well, the play was for Shaquille to give me a good down pick. I came off. Luke ran and drove a weave with me instead. And I had Richard on me, and I just tried to gather my balance, back him up, and knock it down.
You look at the way that this game went. Detroit really made it tough for you. What do you see now for the rest of this series?
A challenge. It's going to be a dogfight. Nobody said it was going to be easy in this. You know, we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to going up there.
Shaq talked about the pressure in this game because to go down 0-2 as the home team would have been disastrous. How did you guys battle through that pressure?
Well, I mean, it is what it is. And we have to rise up to that challenge, step up. You know, this is what we do for a living. And, you know, if you can't rise up to the pressure right now, you shouldn't be playing.
All right, Kobe, congratulations. Thanks for stopping.
Thank you.
Let's send it back to you guys.
Thank you, Michelle. Series starts out. It's going to be one for the ages, Doc.
Wow.